In late April 2024, my wife Amanda and I began our Camino de Santiago journey in northern Spain. Good morning. Bonjour. It is a glorious day and we are starting our Camino hike finally today on April 30th. We just left Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which means foot of the pass. It's in the Basque region of France and Spain. It's at the foothills of the French Pyrenees. We are going a fairly short distance today of about 5.5 miles or 8 kilometers to a great place to stay that everybody recommends called Orisson, which is a hostel that we'll be getting to. Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port was founded or formed around the 12th century, and the route's been used for over 1,000 years to go all the way to Saint-Jean-Pied, or to go all the way to Santiago, to Compostela, which is where we are working to get to over a course of the next 500 miles. Los burros. Bonjour. Bonjour. The first 2 days are some of the most rigorous in terms of elevation. Today we're doing a couple of thousand feet, about 700 meters. So it's very peaceful out here, and the beauty is just astounding. Really enjoying that. Part of the reason I'm on the Camino is to remember my mom, who passed away in July of last year, and I'm taking her along on this journey with me. She would have really enjoyed doing this, and I am grateful to be out here in this beautiful nature and have her with me in spirit. This is the view from the refuge Orisson, the albergue that we're staying at tonight. It is amazing. Such a beautiful day today. We're supposed to get a pretty good rainstorm tomorrow, so enjoying this while we can. Good morning. This is the view today. Yesterday we had that wonderful view out into the distance. We are on day 2, heading off about 11 miles today to a town called Breathtaking. As we can see, yesterday we had a high of 69. It was probably 65 up at the top where we stayed in Orisson. It's not really the top, but halfway to the top, and beautiful today. Big storm came in last night. We're in the 40s. It's been raining since probably 4 in the morning. So pretty chilly and wet, but we are underway and excited. Here's Amanda going through some pretty gnarly mud here out in the snow on the Camino. Experienced our first real Camino magic. There was a Frenchman who had a truck that was loaded with snacks, hot drinks, which was really nice, and other food, and he was amazing. So it was fabulous to have him there because it was right before we had a major pass that we had to go over. The snow has left us behind. It was pretty tough up there today. We've gone almost 10 miles heading to Frances Valle. Good morning. Buenos dias. We are in Spain, back in Spain after coming over the French Pyrenees yesterday. Kind of getting I don't know if it's a late start really. We're 10:45 in the morning. We are going to go about 15 miles today. And hopefully it's a little easier than yesterday. We had quite an adventure, as did all the pilgrims out on the Camino going over the French Pyrenees. The Camino, actually, you can not only walk, but you can also cycle on it. It was quite cold, but the night before at Orison, we had a wonderful group dinner. There were about 45 people able to stay there, and the food was fantastic. And then at the end of it, they gave a microphone out, and everybody had to introduce themselves and where they were from and why they were going on the Camino, and it really helped to introduce us to a lot of people, and I'm sure people will be seeing down on the trail. Yeah, a lot of pretty horses out here. Got some foals going. It's nap time. One of the things about the Camino that's great is you end up meeting all these wonderful pilgrims on the trail. And one of them was a German fellow who went by Dino, and he actually called himself Dino Camino. He was a very gregarious guy, and he actually recently retired, and a few years ago, and basically this was his third Camino. So he shared a lot of good tips with us about kind of what's coming and towns to focus in on. Met a woman at the pilgrim office in Saint Jean, and we were talking to her in line, and she's an amazing woman. Her name's Jerry, and she said she was from Alaska, and she actually lived in Denali. She'd been living up there over 23 years, and we were talking to her, and well, how do you get food? Because it's pretty remote. She lives in a small cabin. She said, well, you know, they'll call me about a dead moose on the highway, and then you go out there with a chainsaw because it'll be frozen by the time you get there, cut it out, and then get it home. It was very wilderness hardy living. The reason she was going on the Camino is she's celebrating her 85th birthday. And boy, she seemed like she was about 20 years younger. Scenery today has just been outstanding, going through these really nicely wooded areas with lots of birds out. We've actually heard a cuckoo on and off throughout the day. It's like, is there a German clock out there somewhere or something? I don't know if I've ever heard a cuckoo before in the wild, so that's kind of pretty cool. But yeah, we're starting to head back up here again. It's been a kind of a rolling up and down today on the trail. We got a total of 15 miles we're doing at about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. Good morning. We are in day 4 on the Camino. Had a wonderful conversation with a Belgian gentleman named Olivier. Super guy, told us a nice story about the Camino, that you learn to listen more. And he said in about 10 days, the pain of being on the Camino will fade, and then you will be strong and going with no pain. So we'll see how that goes. Workers out doing some trail maintenance here, which is fabulous that they've got people doing that. Noisy.
Will you pull my heart out, and I don't mind leaving any old time to keep me waiting.
We are getting close to Pamplona. There's where they have the running with the bulls. Today we're going about 12.5 miles total. So it's a bit of a shorter day. We're making good progress. We had a wonderful time at a cafe earlier today. Get some food, live music, some new friends we've met on the Camino. It was very good. Yesterday we had a steep descent coming into Zibiri, which was the town, a few towns before where we stayed. On the way down there was a older fella, at least older than me, and he stopped and we were chatting, and he had some sort of back spasm, and he was really struggling getting down into town. And so Amanda and I ended up stopping and carrying his pack, and slowly he was able to get down, and we had a nice conversation going down. He's from Australia. We helped him down, and we learned that yesterday he was celebrating his 75th birthday. His name is Cole. His wife was super relieved that he made it down. Good afternoon. We are in day 5 of our journey. We are going 16 miles today from a town called Cesar Mayor, and that's just outside Pamplona. We stayed in a wonderful place last night. Yesterday, as we were going through Pamplona, we got lost a little bit, but it was pretty easy to track, and it was kind of strange being back in a big city, really. Just being out in the countryside like we are. So ended up going to the cafe that is kind of known as the Hemingway Cafe, Cafe Aruna, in the main part of the old city. And we went in there, and there's a statue of him and this high ceiling bar that doesn't appear to be used a whole lot now, but there was a big restaurant and outdoor seating where we were at. One of the cool things that we saw as we entered the city is just this huge city wall that we went through, what's I guess called the Gate of France, which is this drawbridge. And then all of a sudden you end up in this old city. Yesterday we ended up going about 14 miles. We were both pretty tired towards the end of the day. It was kind of a long journey through the city. And now, as you can see, we are back out into this just fabulous countryside here. And a lot of wheat growing. There's some poppies out there. And it's just so nice to be back out in the country. One of the things that I've been doing to honor and remember my mom is just taking some pictures. I brought a picture of her that I've been periodically snapping photos of as I go. And then My mom was not a super religious person at all. Neither am I really, but of course there's a lot of cathedrals, churches around, and so we've been lighting candles as we go through. This is the Santa Maria de Unate. It was built in the late 1100s. It was built by a bunch of stonemasons. The stonemasons created an itinerant society made up of pagans, Jews, Muslims, Christians. Unate means 100 doors in the Basque language, and basically you walk around the church 3 times, so 33 arches, 3 times around is 99, and then enter through the west door and it equals 100. It's one of the most interesting churches on the entire Camino. One of the things I was kind of uncertain of is just with over 300,000 people doing all the different routes on the Camino annually now, that it was just going to be overwhelmed with people. And some, pretty much since we began the journey, it's sort of ebbed and flowed. I mean, there have been times, like right now, it's 5:30 at night. Most people have stopped in the town before La Puenta, and so I'm out here all by myself. So you can get some quiet contemplation even when you think of the magnitude of the number of people that are out on the Camino. Other times, today, for example, you know, we got up through this area coming out of Pamplona, and there's new people joining in Pamplona. And so there's a lot more people on the Camino, but like I said, it just kind of ebbs and flows. And now I have this nice, peaceful, quiet time to contemplate life. And there's Sirachi, where I'm staying for the night. I'm gonna get there just in time for the dinner tonight, so I am excited about that because I am hungry and almost out of water, so let's go. Good morning. We are on day 6 of our Camino journey. We had a good start to the morning. There was a wonderful albergue last night in the town of Sirachi that we stayed at. A gentleman named Juan that manages the place, and he was just all smiles the whole time, so friendly and engaging. And I was the last one to get there. I ended up going a total of 20 miles yesterday, and the last 3 miles is going up a steep incline, and then you get into town and you go up high even further. But we were right across from the old cathedral. The bell's going when we got there, and I think they stopped that in the middle of the night because our room was like right across from where the bells go off. So yeah, and Amanda went 17 miles, so it was a stout day for both of us. Today we're doing a shorter day, going about 10 miles into a town named Estella, and we're looking forward to being able to get a little bit of a break and get some laundry done. Yesterday we had a great walk. It was a little bit shorter day, about 12 miles total. Just had a little breather, feet been sore, and I don't know, my pack, I'm guessing it's about 21 pounds. Its shoulders are kind of getting used to carrying the load. Pretty soon, hopefully gonna get past the sore feet and feeling in the rhythm, in the groove here. We made it to a town called Estella yesterday, and beautiful old church there, and really nice river. We're gonna go a total of about 17.5 miles today. We are in just beautiful wine country. This morning we actually did what's become a traditional ceremony in kind of one of the wineries as you get into Arache. You drink wine out of the Camino shell that a lot of people carry with them as part of the Camino walk, and it's become kind of a tradition to drink some wine out of there. It was pretty dry red wine, but it was kind of gave you a little bit of a boost in the morning to get started. So I met some interesting people today. One is a couple of different people from China. One was a couple that moved to Australia about 12 years ago to raise their daughter, and for many reasons left China. Actually worked in the computer industry. Amanda and I actually lived in China for 4 years, from 2005 to 2009, and it may have been that when he was selling computer equipment at that time, our paths crossed remarkably. And there was a French fella that when we got off track on the trail, he was probably, unfortunately, following me when I got lost. And so we connected, and he didn't speak a whole lot of English, so it really helped us with le français and trying to relearn, having learned French 3 years in college and lived in Paris for 4 months in the late 80s. But it's been a long time, so I was kind of acquainting myself with French with him. But he lost his wife about 8 months ago, and I'm guessing he's about 60. His name's Pascal. So everybody who's coming out here has their own reason for coming. We've continued to stop in churches and light candles in remembrance of my mom, even though she passed last July, and it's now in May of the following year. Going on to be about a year here pretty soon. Still think a lot about her. Today, one of the things that happened was I was talking about her earlier on the video, and literally 5 minutes later, this fella came from a different road, and he was walking with 2 huskies, beautiful husky dogs. And my mom and her husband had huskies for 28 years and just love that breed. So somehow I just think it was meant to be that they turned up as I was thinking about her.